Hello, welcome everyone to CAR's webinar. This is our first webinar from India chapter, and CAR and AAAF, Ayurveda Anusandhan Abhiyan Foundation, both of them actually, they are holding these research webinars, which actually started in this month. And I'm really very happy to hold as a chair for this webinar series. My name is Dr. Asavari Manvikar. I am from Minnesota, and I work at the University of Minnesota as a graduate faculty, as well as I am a founder of Minnesota Institute of Ayurveda, which is based off of Minneapolis. So today we are going to talk about recent researches in Marma therapy, and I'm very happy to introduce our speaker, Dr. Shishir Prasad. He has done his MS in Shalya Tantra, PG diploma in yoga, and he works as an associate professor at PG department in Shalya Tantra at the Uttarakhand Ayurveda University in Dehradun, India. So he's a member expert committee on Marma therapy at CCRAS, Government of India. He is also Ayush curriculum expert at AIMS Rishikesh, Uttarakhand, and he's a founder president at International Marma Science and Yoga Foundation. He has written many wonderful publications, and some of his publications have are international. And he has also got Best Paper Award for his papers at AIMCOM as well as at IEEE International Conference in Bangalore. He's an eminent speaker. He's a global speaker for many international workshops and guest lectures. And he has also traveled more than a dozen countries across the world, which have included delegates from more than 50 different nations, concluded Ayurveda and Marma therapy workshops, guest lectures in them. So I would love, Dr. Prasad, it is over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Asavari.
Thank you.
It's a great honor to be speaking in front of the audience, and especially with the CAR team, because we know that you're all involved in some wonderful work and highly appreciated even by the ambassador in the United States. So it's some wonderful work you have done, also being appreciated by the, I think in the last sessions you had the talk and gathering with the Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Ayush, also present there. So, so congratulations to the whole team.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to talk in front of the renowned researchers of Ayurveda. So I'm going to share my presentation. I will be talking about some of the thesis work that in our department or in the university, some of the postgraduate scholars did in relation to Marma Chikitsa, in relation to Marma therapy. So there are three I'm going to talk about in this session. There are more of them, but those three are the ones which I'm going to share the gist of those thesis work. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, absolutely. It looks good. Thank you.
So this is a work done by Dr. Lotika Bharti. She is a postgraduate scholar in Rishikul campus, Haridwar, Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, in the department of Shalakya Tantra. And the study was on clinical study, was a clinical study on effect of Marma therapy in management of Pratham Patalgat Timir, with special reference to myopia. So we collaborated because at that time in my institute, there was no post-graduation at that time. So we collaborated with the Shalakya Tantra Eye Department of Rishikul campus and got this work done.
Mhm.
Dr. Lotika is now working in government in the state in the Union Territory of Jammu now.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to highlight some of the important slides from her presentation. So the assessment criteria were subjective parameters, the blurring of vision, eye strain, headache, and watering were done assessment on. And on the objective parameters, she did work on visual acuity and dioptric power, fundoscopy, and A scan. So simple myopia patients were chosen. The age was 10 to 40 years, and dioptric power, as you can see. Of course, some of these points have been put forward by the Shalakya Tantra expert, and I had to put forward my views regarding marmas in them.
Right, right.
So the basis of this work was there are references that pada abhyanga se netra jyoti badhti hai. So if there is foot massage, then there is improvement in vision. This is written in our texts. So what I thought was maybe while doing this foot massage, there are certain marmas which get stimulated, right? So based on this shlok, basically the idea came to do work on the topic. And so we chose the Chipra Marm and Tal Hriday Marm of the foot. And besides that, there are references of certain other marmas, which are the Apanga Marm, Avarta Marm, and Sthapni Marm, which are said to be directly related to the Alochak Pitta. So since they are set to control the Alochak Pitta, and Alochak Pitta, there are references that controls vision, right? So, so these marmas were chosen, and another marm besides this was the Vidhur marm we chose because there are certain studies, more recent studies done on Vidhur marm, which showed that there is certain improvement in vision in while we do the site around the Vidhur. Not exactly the term Vidhur was used, but the site or the location was near the Vidhur marma. So we chose this Vidhur marma as well. So total of these 6 marma points were chosen, and marma therapy for 28 days was done. And it was not daily, it was, I think, 3 times in a week. In each of the points were stimulated by an intermittent pressure, approximately 20 times in one sitting. Sthapni marm, there is a slightly different method of stimulation, but the others, there was an intermittent pressure 2 times a day. So on the subjective parameters, we had very good results in eye stress, eye strain, watering in the eye, and headache. We had significant results with the marma therapy group. I have not included all the groups now, but I'm just talking about the marma therapy one, the group in which the marmas were done. And in objective parameters, we did not get good enough results. Significant, it was very much less. So the power, basically, we did not get much improvement. It was a 1 month, I think 28 days study period. So the improvement in the power or in that sense was not up to mark, because I think we could have in the new future studies, we can include more duration of therapy, because I have seen in certain clinical settings that if we do this for a longer duration of time, we may get better improvement as well. However, we will have to do more research based on the larger duration of study. But we did get very good results in the subjective parameters while doing the marma therapy, which was quite encouraging. And based on this, I did some more work on other diseases of the eye, and again got good results.
So the patients were asked to
So
do the MARMA on their own, the pressure, or they were asked to
no, the
come to the
patients were
hospital?
asked to come to the OPD, and
Okay.
there they were done the stimulation. And some patients were also in the IPD, so that we can do it more easily, right?
Right.
So we had marked improvement as well as moderate improvement. Mild improvement was there in 40% cases, but moderate to marked improvement were in 50% cases, and 5 patients were completely okay. So this was just a gist of the trial. That this was very important because, you know, in MARMA therapy, many of the references are there with the anatomical aspects of MARMA, but the clinical aspect of MARMA, and as a post-graduation thesis, this was the first. So this is the first thesis published with the clinical application of MARMA therapy. And this actually paved way for more theses and different other Ayurvedic colleges also. So this was a very important work and should be recognized as Dr. Lotika was the one who did this. And another work in our department, Dr. Seema Kumari, she's now also a lecturer now, and she has also completed this. This was MARMA therapy in chronic wounds. So I'm going to skip these. I'll just come directly to the. So we had different kinds of Dushta Vrana. Some of them were venous ulcers. So you can see these are venous ulcers, and this is post treatment. And in this, it was not only the MARM therapy that was used. There was another medicine which was called as Gridhrasi this is arc oil. So there was an application of an oil specially made for Dushta Vrana. And along with this oil application, MARMA therapy was done. And another group, there was an Agni Karm done. And another group, there was only arc oil given. So we can compare actually whether the effect is only due to arc oil, or also if there is involvement of the MARMA therapy. So intergroup comparisons showed good results. So these are some of the trophic ulcers. The study duration was 2 months. Trophic ulcers takes a long time to heal, you know. So as you can see, there's a good granulation tissue, the reddish part. So in 2 months' time, it did not get cured completely, but since the granulation tissue was there, it did heal in another couple of months. So this was another trophic ulcers before and after. This was a diabetic ulcer. So you can see after treatment.
That's amazing.
This was a more easier case. This was a more easier case, which was a cut wound, and it was more easier to heal, not so difficult one. So overall, if I just compare the two groups, I have not compared the other group, another group where. No, I don't think Agni Karm was done in this. Agni Karm is another one. So not Agni Karm was not done in this one.
Okay.
So effect of MARMA therapy and the use of arc oil. So you can see where the group where we had included MARM therapy, we had much better results, and the before and after was very good. So this is BT, before treatment, and this is after treatment. And this one is also regarding the swelling of the patient before treatment, after treatment, tenderness, discharge. So all of these we had excellent improvement. So this group, although it is written empty, it should not be taken as only empty. It was included along with arc oil. So the color also was better. Margin of this surface, margin surface, there was improvement. Itching sensation reduced, pain reduced remarkably. So overall effect of therapy, there were around 20 patients in each group. So, so this, as you can see, there were 5. No, there were 10 patients in each group, total 30 patients were there. So 5, 3, and 2, and again 5, 3, and 2, you can see there was marked improvement, moderate improvement, and some of the patients were completely cured. So group overall effect of therapy, group where we used both marma therapy and the ERK oil. You see this is the bluish structure that was much more than the reddish part here. So this was only ERK oil use, right? So we can see that the effect where the marma therapy was included was more.
Absolutely.
Of
So
course, these were
marmas were used?
Yeah, I will tell that. In this case, we use depending upon the site or location of the wound. So the marmas which were more clear, were more closer to the wound were used. In some of the marmas, some of the wounds that we show, we used the Indrabasti marm, Gulf marm, and Chipper marm or Talhde marm. So all of these were of the lower extremity. So ingredients of the ERK oil was Calotropis procera, turmeric, and mustard oil. This was prepared by the student. And of course, this has been registered in the clinical trial. So all these 3 thesis work has been registered in the clinical trial registry of Government of India. So this was the marm, Indrabasti marm was used. So you can see this is the site of the marma. And we do stimulation approximately 2 finger below this point where the gastrocnemius muscle ends. So this is the 2 bellies of the gastrocnemius muscle. The location is actually at the site where the 2 bellies of the gastrocnemius muscle ends textually. But when you do stimulate around this point, what happens is sometimes there is hematoma formation. So the site of a stimulation, we go around 2 finger down and then stimulate at this point rather than stimulating exactly at this point, because there can be chances of hematoma formation if you do that. Right, and this point is approximately 12 finger breadths above the sole of the foot. So this is the sole of the foot, and you measure 12 finger breadths above. So this is the point at which you do the stimulation with the help of 2 fingers, as shown in the figure. Right, and this is a direct and intermittent pressure, like you take your breath in and out. So it's actually when you press, you press when you exhale and release when you inhale. So that is the method we adapt. And one press and release will take approximately 3 seconds, because our breathing rate is approximately 18 times per minute. So it comes to approximately 3 seconds. One press and release will take approximately 3 seconds. And we can do it actually 2 to 3 times in a day. So Gulf marma, again, you can see this was also used. This is approximately 2 finger breadth behind the medial malleoli, and you have the flexor hallucis longus and the branches of the posterior tibial nerve passing around this area. So what you feel is actually a rope-like structure, and it's just have to gently stimulate this point. However, when you first stimulate, it is tender, so that has to be prognosticated to the patient that when you do the stimulation, it will be tender, right? So it is not like it will be tender for throughout the duration of the treatment. It is the initial few times where it will be more painful in the first stimulations. Basically, in marmas, there are 2 points like the Gulf marm and Cooper marm, which are painful when stimulated in the first few sittings, but they are also very effective. So you just cannot bypass them, right? We have to prognosticate the patient that you have to bear some pain while first stimulation, but it will also give you relief. So that has to be done. This marma we also did in the following thesis work, where not in Dushtavarana, but we used it in another set of patients, which was Gridhrasi. So this is a very important marma. We have both sides of a stimulation. So this is the medial aspect of a stimulation, and there is another aspect which is the lateral aspect of a stimulation. So distance is approximately 2 finger breadth in the lateral aspect also. However, the point of application is on this area rather than slightly at an angulated point here. So there are certain precautions that needs to be taken while doing it, because there are some superficial veins. So if you press or rub too hard here, then there can be some swelling and the pain may increase, right? So it has to be a very meticulous way of stimulating the marma site. Also, there are some patients in which there can be some itching sensation when you stimulate the marma. And this itching sensation is mostly in the foot, and it goes within 10 to 15 minutes on its own. Not all cases will report, but there are certain cases who will report about the itching sensation in the foot, and it goes on its own. You don't need to take any extra medicine for that. But yes, you have to tell the patient that once you stimulate it, there can be itching sensation, and it will go in soon. Don't have to worry about it. So as you can see, this is the lateral part of the Gulf marma. So this is the site of stimulation as it against the medial aspect where we showed it was more on this side, approximately around 45-degree angle. There can be certain variations depending upon whether the patient is obese or very lean and thin. There can be slight variation in this point. That comes basically by experience, and you will be able to do. But more or less, in most of the cases, it will be around this area, right? So here also, actually, you have to make your foot like at 90 degrees and don't hyperflex it or hyperextend it. If you hyperflex or hyperextend, then you will not be able to properly identify this. So it has to be kept at 90 degree. And as you can see in the figure here, I'm just holding the foot with one hand and then applying the pressure, right? So here also there's a certain rope-like structure, which is again a sural nerve. So it's just gently stimulated and release it. Just like you pull a guitar string and release, do that. So that is the way in which this Gulf marma on the lateral side or on the medial side is stimulated. Just once you feel that rope-like structure, slightly elevate and release it. No rubbing should be done. If you rub, there will be swelling and pain may increase.
Okay.
So this is another marma which we did, and this is the Chipre marma. So Chipre marma basically lies from the webbing. It is 1 finger breadth above the webbing here. And this is a technique that we adapt. The index finger is make like a hook and put behind on the sole, right? And then with the help of the thumb, apply pressure slightly towards the great toe. And there are certain references where it is written that Chipre marma is both on this side as well as on the sole of the foot. So when you put the index finger on the back and then you press like this, so you are actually stimulating both the sides. And this is again an intermittent pressure of 20 to 25 times, because none of them is vascular marmas. When the marmas are vascular in nature, then we do around 15 times, and the amount of pressure is also much less in vascular marmas, but none of them are vascular marmas, so moderate amount of pressure can be applied on this.
Okay.
This is although away from the topic, but I have included this because this is something very interesting, a case of macular edema, right? So as I said earlier in the first slide, that the same marmas we also utilize in certain other eye diseases, right? So this was a patient in Italy, and when I was there in 2019 August, he came to me, and at that time he told me, you see, I have macular edema and this problem. So what can I do? So I said, I have done only 2 patients so far, so I cannot really predict that what will be the outcome. I made the point very clear to him, and he said, but still I want to do it. So because he was taking certain injections, and still the desired results were not adequate enough as per him. So I told him in August some of the marma points in relation to the eye diseases, and he did it very religiously because he's also a practitioner there in Italy, and he gave me the permission to share this, so I can share this. And after around, I think, August, and then you can see on the 24th of October, he again got the OCT done, and at that time the edema decreased markedly, and he did not go for any injection after this. He was planning to go for injection, already had gone for around 5 injections prior to this, but after this he did not go for any injection. and his vision improved. When actually I visited him again in October 2019, I was again in Europe for some lectures. So then he told me, actually he came driving to pick me up, and then he said, I can drive, um, and I can see much better now. So this is a very interesting case, and so far we have 5 such cases treated through Marma therapy. Based on only 5 cases, I cannot generalize in all of these cases, but these are some of the findings which are very encouraging, and especially those people who are working in the Shalakya department or related to eye diseases, they can do further research on these types of patients.
This is
And this is
absolutely
just,
awesome.
yeah,
Within
and
just couple of months, it's a
yes,
great
absolutely right.
prognosis.
Yes, actually, what happened was when you go back and around few years back, what happened was there was a patient who came in one of my workshops. Patient's granddaughter basically came to one of my workshop, and she asked me a number of times that please tell me something, please tell me something. I said very clearly, you see, I have not treated that patient. I have to see the patient, but still she insisted, and then I told, okay, so I know certain point based on theoretical aspect, I can tell you this, and then I guided her. And then this granddaughter went and told her grandmother that these are the points that you can do, and she then practiced, and then she had taken around 30 injections earlier for many years, around 6-7 years prior to that, and each injection costs around 48,000 private hospital in India. I don't know how much it costs in US or in Europe, but it was quite a lot. And not only the cost, but also the trouble with the injections. And
Mhm.
then she did the Marma therapy, and after 1.5 years, she visited me and said, doc, you had told all those things, and I'm doing this for nearly 1.5 years. And since I have been doing this, I did not go for any other injection therapy. So this was very encouraging. And based on this, so I told another patient who was willing to do it. And since the points are very gentle stimulation, so it's not like it will cause any side effect, right? So with certain precautions, we guided the patient how to do. First, we saw ourselves that whether they are doing it correctly or not, and then the patient did themselves. So we got good results, and so far I have such 5 cases. And of course, it's not like only me doing this. I actually discussed with my wife, who is an Shalakya Tantra associate professor also, and also I got good support from the head of department, Professor Gunjan Sharma of Rishikul Ayurvedic College. So we could do some good work. And this is just to show, because people sometimes ask whether the effect of Marma therapy is temporary or long lasting, and whether it is only superficial acting, or whether you have more in-depth effect of Marmas. So we have actually not just on the subjective parameters, we do get results on objective parameters as well.
Absolutely.
This was a comparative clinical study. This is the third of the thesis work already have been completed from our department. It was a comparative clinical study of Agni Karma, Maram therapy, and Gridhrasi Harpati in Gridhrasi, and done by Dr. Rakhi Joshi. She's also working now as an assistant professor. So 20 patients in each group were selected. One of the group was Agni Karma and Gridhrasi Harvati. Another group included Marma therapy and Gridhrasi Harvati, and group C included only Gridhrasi Harvati. So total study duration was 2 months. The first 2 groups, we did the assessment 15 minutes, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and 2 months respectively. And in the other group 3, every 15th day for 2 months. Ethical clearance was, of course, taken. In all the 3 studies, I have included this here, but in other studies also the ethical clearance were taken. So in this, we did these marmas, which is the Chhipra, Gulf, Indrabasti, Kukundar, and Katikatarana. Kukundar and Katikatarana I did not show in the slides earlier, but these are the 2 which we also did. These 2 basically are considered as marmas of the back. These 3 are considered as marmas of the lower limb. So a number of settings were 2, duration was 1 month, and positioning of the patient was both supine and prone posture. So some of the effects I am showing, all the patients basically in all the group, they all had some treatment history prior to initiating the therapies, and they were still not satisfied with the results that they got. But when we did Marmas and we did those Agnikarm, we had some encouraging results. So some of the subjective parameters I have shown in group C, where only the medicine was used, it was only 50%. When we included the MARM therapy, it was around 63.63% in Stambh. And group A, there was even more, which was 73.85%. Group A was Agnikarm, group B was MARM therapy and the Ghidriasi Harvati.
Okay.
So in Tod, there was around 43.3%. As you can see, there was more improvement in MARM therapy group, and there was even better improvement with the Agnikarm procedure. But since Agnikarm is, you can say, it cannot be a non-invasive, it is basically an invasive technique. So not every patient can go for Agnikarm. MARM therapy is something which is non-invasive, and non-interventional, non-pharmacological intervention kind of approach. So it is more easier and more safer and more widely approachable, you can say. So we had better results in the MARM therapy group in cases of Aruchi in those patients. And Tandra also, we had some very good results with MARM therapy. And of course, we also had good results in Agnikarm group. Patient pain relief was around 68% in the MARM therapy group, and 73.68% in the group with Agnikarm. So in objective parameters, we did the SLR test and saw how much the patient can raise the limb after therapy. So there was around 70% improvement in those cases of MARM therapy and 85% patients in Agnikarm. So this was an overall relief of different patients, and definitely there was much better improvement both in the group B as well as in the group C in different parameters.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the effect in Aruchi and Tandra. Like it's all
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. And the number of patients that we treated, it was 100%. 20 were the patients we treated. So this was an overall effect of group A, group B, and group C. So the overall effect was 75% in the group with Agnikarm, group B with the patients with MARM therapy and the Ghidriasi Harvati. So thank you. I think this was about just about all the three topics that our postgraduate scholars did in our institute.
This is absolutely awesome work. Thank you so much for sharing this. It's beautiful. I mean, there is so much clinical evidence to this, because when you start learning about marmas and try to find out, more information about it, there is so much information in the classical textbooks, which is more related to, different categories of the marmas and the where they lie in the body. So it is more related to the anatomy. But there has not been done a lot of work in this area.
Absolutely right. Many of these works are the first in their criteria. So clinical application of MARM therapy. Now I know that people are doing more thesis work across India in different other diseases. Some are doing in frozen shoulder, some cervical spondylitis, osteoarthritis knee, and different other diseases also people are doing. So it's good to see more and more clinical evidences coming up, and all these thesis work get registered in the clinical trial registry, and so that gives it actually an authenticity. However, the sample data are very small, you can say, but since these are preliminary studies, we can definitely increase on the sample data and then see the effect on a large sample data. Yes.
Right, absolutely. So typically, how do you decide how long to give the pressure depending upon various marmas?
So that is basically as a general rule, on the non-vascular murmurs, we do only approximately 1 to 2 pound of pressure, but on non-vascular murmurs, it depends upon which one we are good, but more moderate amount of pressure can be applied on those murmur site, right? And also there are certain vascular murmurs in which we just apply very gentle. It's only a matter of touch. So it basically depends upon the type of murmur we are stimulating, the site of murmur we are stimulating. For example, the Kakshadhar murmur, when we are stimulating, it is very close to the brachial plexus. So there is a specific technique where you don't go down and slightly go upwards. Only the direction of pressure has to be slightly backwards and upwards, right? So the site of murmur, the type of murmur, and the resultant of injury, as mentioned by Acharya Sushruta, that also has to be taken into consideration while deciding what amount of pressure is to be given, should be the direction of stimulation should be given. As a general aspect, you can say we do 20 to 25 times, other than non-vascular murmurs, intermittent pressure. And one press and release takes approximately 3 seconds because, as I said earlier, we do the expiration around 18 times per minute. So it is approximately 3 times. So you press when you exhale and release when you inhale. However, all the time when you're doing it with your patient, it's not always easy to match it with the rate of rhythm. It is more better to do it when you are doing self murmur therapy. You can actually match it with your rate of breathing, but not always you can do it with when your patient comes to you. So in such cases, you can do even otherwise, and we get results even otherwise. However, if you have to do it for a longer duration of time and do the self murmur therapy, then it's better that you match it with your rate of breathing.
Right. That absolutely makes sense. So besides doing the manipulation, like, do you use also any oils or any lepan or like any other ways to manipulate the murmurs?
I'm not using any other way than using our hands, because as I always often quote, Sushruta has said, "Hastameva pradhanatam yantram." So hands are the best instruments. So I am not using any other thing. There are certain, there's one marmashaya which is prepared, and for certain patients of you can say paraplegia or hemiplegia, quadriplegia. In such cases, we do that. But other cases, I don't use any oil. I don't use any other than the digital application of pressure, right? And there are certain people, there are many people who are using, especially in the southern Indian states, they use the oils for different varmam stimulation, and they get good results too, right? But I'm not using. And as per Lepan, there is a reference of, in Sushruta Samhita, I think in 5th or 6th chapter, where there's a certain kind of alep mentioned that you apply on vrana. And Sushruta has mentioned that the same alep can also be applied on the marma side. So the stimulation of marmas directly or indirectly have been mentioned in our texts at various places. So there is a word mention of application of one alep on the marmam site. So there are people who are using it, but I'm not using.
Absolutely. No, this is absolutely awesome work that you have done at the university. There is so much clinical reference.
My students did, Dr. Lotika, Dr. Seema, and Dr. Rakhi Joshi. Another doctor, Dr. Atul, he has also completed his thesis work on pain management. So there are people who have been doing that, and the students now also are more interested and in doing more and more work in marma therapy. Earlier, it was quite difficult because it was not so easy to get the ethical clearance also, because not much work was done in the clinical aspects. But more and more work is being done now, and it's not only me who is working. There are many other people who are working in the field and getting good results now.
Absolutely. I mean, marma therapy is really non-formality. I mean, you're not using any drugs or any medicines internally. And
Yeah,
it is absolutely not invasive. This is
yeah,
a
absolutely
great
true.
way, absolutely great
Absolutely
way
true.
actually for healing. And it's not
Yeah,
just for the local effect, it's actually really internal or really very, very
absolutely.
deeper effect.
Absolutely. And although I would like to add, marma therapy, where there are places where we use only marma therapy, but there are places where we use internal aspect of internal Ayurvedic medicines also, right? And the
Mhm.
best part is that it can be used in conjunction with other pathies. For example, when the patient is of avascular necrosis, femur head, so in such cases, those patients who have not been responding to the conventional method of treatment or conventional even Ayurvedic medicines and other Ayurvedic procedures, but when you include marma therapy along with those procedures you are doing, then you get better results that we have definitely seen in our practice, in everyday practice. So that is the best part. You can actually include marma therapy along with the conventional methods of treatment. There are places in which you don't need to do only, or you can only do marmas. For example, I did one patient in Mexico for frozen shoulder patient, and I did a couple of times to this patient, and then I taught him, you see, these are the ways you do it. And this patient had frozen shoulder for 6 months, and almost lost all hope that his shoulder movement will be back, and that was a secondary frozen shoulder, not a primary frozen shoulder. So this patient, he did it very well for around 1.5 months himself, and did not take any medicine. And after 1.5 months, he then shared with me a video of himself, and all the range of movement of his shoulder was back, and it was really wonderful to see. And so we get different kinds of patients, different varieties of chronicity of the patient, and marmas work wonderful in variety of cases, especially more so in musculoskeletal and neuromusculoskeletal disorders.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I see the integrative medicine is growing very, very rapidly. And
Yeah.
like Burma therapy can be a really great way to bring in that aspect of Ayurveda.
That's true. And the best part is, many times you don't need to spend anything. You can actually see the patient is doing himself. So the compliance is also more. Even when you are doing certain medicines, the patient, when you give, even after the first sitting, there are cases where you get patient relief, even after first stimulation of certain marma points, right? So the patient have very good confidence in you. And when you're giving the medicines, then the compliance of taking those medicines are much better. So, so when marmas, I think, should be included in every hospital. And recently, as I was talking to you, in Nepal, there has been a training going on with National
Mhm.
Institute of Ayurveda there. So all of the around 450 medical officers will be trained in different phases, and not only the medical officers of government of Nepal, but also the paramedics are being trained in different phases. And I thank the director there, Dr. Ramadhar Yadav sir, who is organizing all these. So there are people in different countries now, in different states of India as well. In Himachal Pradesh government, we did training for government medical officers there, and it was around a couple of months back. The patients now getting and very good relief, especially in osteoarthritis, low back pain patients. And the doctors themselves are sending reports every month who are treating. So it's not only like I am doing and I'm getting the result. The people who have learned the science, and they are doing very good work. There is Dr. Raman Ranjan, who is in Patna Government Ayurvedic College, and Dr.
Mhm.
Santosh Vishwakarma. So they are very good marma practitioners now. And there is a separate OPD in Government Ayurvedic College, Patna, where marmas are being practiced. And similarly, there is a separate marma therapy OPD in Government Ayurvedic College, Paparola, where I did my post-graduation from. So Dr. Gaurav Parmar is there. He recently recorded 500 cases of frozen shoulder treated through marma therapy. So this is another very good work that he's doing. So similarly, get across the different places. There is one lady in Israel, Ofra Bargil. So she's also doing very, very good work with marma therapy. And so in different parts of the world, Mexico, in Australia also people are doing. In Europe, there are, in Italy, as I said. So there are people in Germany and Spain, Poland. One physiotherapist basically came from Poland, and He's now practicing along with physiotherapy. There is one of the best institutes in India, which is NIMHANS, in Bangalore. So NIMHANS is considered as one of the best institutes in India. It's basically an allopathic way of treatment there. But there's a physiotherapist who came and attended my workshop in Bangalore. And now he is doing marma therapy along with physiotherapy, and he has sent some wonderful feedbacks, especially in cervical radiculopathy and lumbar radiculopathies. So they are doing some wonderful work in different government level institutes. So this is something which is really satisfying. And the more we do, the more we get feedbacks sometimes from unknown people. Sometimes the people call me and say, "You see, I did this and I got result." So this is something really amazing, and it's highly satisfying.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very, very encouraging. Thank you so much.
Thank
Would you like to share any resource if students or other practitioners want to learn more about marma therapy?
You think about the textual references or the books you want?
Clinical marma therapy.
The way we are doing, not much has been described in the text. The theoretical aspect has been mentioned in Dr. Avinash Lile Subhash Ranande's book, Dr. S.K. Joshi sir's book. There has been mention about theoretical aspects. Clinical aspect also Dr. S.K. Joshi has mentioned in his book. So you can refer that book. That's good.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you for
My
sharing.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yep.
Okay, so
Hello.
I think here, yeah.
I think there is a
Dr. Lotika is here now. Dr. Lotika, she is the one who did this work in myopia.
Hello, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining.
No,
You have done.
it's my pleasure.
You have done absolutely awesome work.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, under the supreme guidance of Dr. Shishir Prasad, sir. They just encouraged me to do that. It was actually the first work. So I was just worried about I'll be able to complete it perfectly or not. But due to their efforts and due to their guidance, I was able to complete that. And it had very good results. Maybe I'm late in joining. I just received the message and I just joined the meeting. Sir must have mentioned all those points.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I did mention about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to see you, Lotika.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.